Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:06 on this Friday morning in your nation's capital. But Patrice, Onwuka, let's get right to it. I know it's not Friday. It's, what do you do here on this day?
It's Friday, Larry.
There it is. It is Friday, but it's not just any Friday. This is the last Friday before this election that we have been, I feel like, focused on for over a year now.
I feel like it's been 4 years of this 24 election cycle.
It's funny, you know how your Facebook memories pop up with pictures from, a year ago to...
Yes.
A year ago, I was in Miami for the second presidential debate of the Republican nominees.
Wow.
That Trump never showed up at.
Yeah. And we saw how that turned out.
Exactly. It really has been quite a journey. So here we are in this final Friday, taking you into this final weekend before Election Day, and we've got a lot of news that you're going to want to focus on because you know how they say the polls are tightening? Well, they're tightening, and now it's showing Kamala Harris with a last gasp of oxygen. So you're going to want to stay hunkered down here and not do any of these victory laps I keep seeing around this area and around the country. Also at 6:35, Tim Holbert, president of American Veterans Center. 7:05, Matt Schlapp. They found some illegal ballot harvesting in Wisconsin. 7:35, Bram Weinstein gives us a preview of this weekend's Commanders game. 8:05, Tom Bevan will talk about these latest polls. And then at 8:35, speaking of Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker will give us his take on how the Badger State's going. Patrice, happy day after Halloween Day, or as many of us call it, All Saints Day.
That's right.
Tell me all about it, because I love sort of living vicariously through parents who have little kids.
Yes.
Our great executive producer, Heather Hunter, she had her a little Hermione from Harry Potter going around the neighborhood, and a little unicorn fairy that was going around, resplendent with a unicorn horn and rainbow dress. Very lovely.
Yes.
What did you have going around your neighborhood getting candy?
We had a special ops officer, and we had a firefighter.
Your little boys always get very tactical. It's very they
do.
They love the
this
utility
stuff.
belts but I did see your special ops guy and your that's very cool.
They had their walkie-talkies. The fireman had his axe. And by the way, shout out to Bowie Fire Station for their open house we went to. I think it was last Saturday, where the two of them got to put out real fires. So we are training up America's next generation of heroes who love America.
I do love the kids who get into character, who they don't just wear the costume, but they actually they approach your front step and your porch, and they're in it. They're in it, and they're I love that. Do your kids do that? They're like.
My firefighter, he has the personality. He's going to go up there. When he's crossing the street, he puts his hand out and stops the traffic and gives them a thumbs up that they can pass. So he definitely is the firefighter. He embodied the I'm going to save the day personality last night.
Did you stay back at home and hand out the candy, or did you go around the neighborhood with your boys getting the candy?
I stayed home and gave out candy. Okay. Dad took them out. And then we did a little lap around in the car around the neighborhood just to see, some of the different decor and see how the crowds were moving.
All right, so let's get to it then. Since you were doing the tally of all of the trick-or-treaters, did you see anyone dressed as a garbage man taking out the garbage? Anyone dressed as a bag of garbage? Or did you see anyone just dressed full-on with the dark suit, the red tie, the MAGA hat, coming up to campaign as Donald Trump on your doorstep?
No on the last, because it is PG County. Yeah. But I did see the construction orange vest outfit. I didn't see anybody in garbage bags, though.
No garbage bags. Okay, so we had a couple of garbage bags. So now, to be fair and totally honest, because I don't want any of my neighbors saying, hey, you weren't passing out candy. We weren't. Meredith and I, we're back from Hillsdale College, by the way. Thank you to all the amazing people at Hillsdale College. Boy, I'm going to talk about this for years to come, and now I've seen firsthand why every parent should send their kid to Hillsdale. But we flew back, and we didn't get back home until after dark into the house. Okay. So we sort of, and we didn't have any candy, so we just kept all the lights out. I felt terrible, but
you were that neighbor, huh?
I know, I felt terrible, but we were out in the street, and we were sort of watching because it was a huge turnout. The weather was so beautiful.
That's great.
And the parents, now I can't be sure. Maybe the parents were wearing all the safety vests because they were actually trying to be, visible at night, and
like the reflective gear.
Right, exactly. But it sure looked like they were going overboard with the whole garbage man thing to me. And we did see a couple of parents who put the garbage bags on, and they were walking around with the garbage bags. And I just love that that's sort of it's a message.
It's a thing.
Yeah, and if anyone says, hey, are you making a political statement? It's like, no, I'm just, it's funny.
It's Halloween.
It's funny. It's Halloween, and I'm in a bag of garbage. What do you want from me? Leave me alone, dude.
I think they're making a statement because all of the parents I saw last night, no one was wearing vests unless it was part of an outfit, and no reflective gear. I mean, they had flashlights. That was their signal that, be careful, there are kids crossing and we're around. So I think your neighbors were definitely sending a statement.
I saw on social media, this is an amazing photo. It's from a user called Puncher75. Last night, 6:40. This is from 2nd Street in Philly. What this user refers to as Union Strong 2nd Street in downtown Philadelphia. And you can look by the housing on the sidewalk and stuff. This is downtown blue-collar Philadelphia. And it looks like it's in front of a school. But there are you looking at this picture with me? I've got to say, 15 boys around 10 years old, and every single one of them is dressed as Donald Trump. Every single actually, now that I look at it,
they look like they're 8 or 9, actually.
But one of them is Trump. The rest of them are his Secret Service detail with MAGA hats on.
Oh,
look at it. Do you see it now?
I got it. And then they're
the one kid in the center with the wig and the red tie, that's Trump. Everyone else is the Secret Service detail, and they're all wearing MAGA hats. We'll put this out on the WMAL social media so you can see it.
I love it. I love it because these kids should be able to express their support for President Trump, to make a statement. One of the kids he looks like a special ops undercover in his
he's the
all
sniper.
black.
He's the sniper.
Okay, he's the sniper.
He's got a rifle. He's got a long gun.
And then you got the big kid in the back with just the Trump flag draped in the Trump flag. I love it. I love it. God bless America, and God bless the parents who put this idea together.
Well, and that's in Philadelphia. That's in
that tells you a lot.
Not just Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In fact, our buddy Chris Stegall, who is the morning radio host in Philadelphia, and I have a feeling we're going to hear from him one last time before Election Day because he's been giving us insights. He put up 2 pictures of his oldest son from 8 years ago. 8 years ago in 2016, again, right before the election, his son dressed up as Donald Trump. And Chris wrote this. He said, 8 years ago tonight, I cautioned my oldest son that door knocking for candy dressed as Trump could be risky. I got a lot wrong that year. He brought home quite a haul, and Trump won Pennsylvania. This year, he gets to vote for Trump.
Wow.
Wild.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something? And
it is.
And well, listen, we live and learn. It does feel a lot different than 8 years ago, that's for sure. And I'll say, and as I said, going forward, we've got Scott Walker, we've got Tom Bevan. We've got Matt Schlapp. They're experts at analyzing, especially the polls in these swing states.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, one thing that I have noticed, not just from the Halloween appearances, but also just in general with celebrities and sports figures, the stigma of saying out loud you support Donald Trump in this election seems in many respects to have worn down, if not actually evaporated in many quarters of this country.
I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, I think when you see NFL players, when you see the wives of current NFL players being able to say, "Yeah, I'm full MAGA. I 100% support it." You've got Danica Patrick,
former
Patrick,
NASCAR,
sorry.
yeah,
exactly, coming out and throwing her support out there. People who in the past would have lost everything, all of their television shows, all of their movies, all of their celebrity by supporting President Trump over the past 4 years, that is all gone. And I think it is because there has been a huge realignment in this country, and it is no longer it is the elitists and the rest of us.
You're right. And it's amazing, this coalition from Elon Musk to RFK Jr. to Tulsi Gabbard. There's been sort of this realignment, as you put it, and many of the unions as well, and blue-collar workers.
Yes.
They're out and they're supporting Donald Trump openly, and they're doing it all based on policy.
Yes.
And people will say, well,
personality.
Kamala Harris has a realignment too because she's got Liz Cheney and she's got Barbara Comstock, and she's got, these Republicans. And I say, yeah, that's true. But it's not about policy. Those people are supporting Kamala Harris not because of her ideas and not because what she'll do with the country. They're supporting her because they don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah, the personality factor.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a coalition on one side that is anti-Trump. There's a coalition on Trump's side that is actually pro-agenda and pro-issues. That's a very interesting. And again, because I think the stigma has sort of been reduced a bit here, and you're seeing more embracing of sort of Trump as an icon in this Halloween season. I'm not saying that means he's going to win. I'm saying that there's progress made in this public dialogue about politics this election day that in many respects it's just a healthy move for us to make, that people can actually openly say, yes, this is who I'm supporting, and they can do it without fear of cancellation, or even if they are canceled, they don't care. And that's healthy, regardless of who wins. That's a healthy development. All right, let's get to Jamie Whidden.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live
from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Yeah, that's President Joe Biden Tuesday night, sort of overshadowing the closing arguments that Kamala Harris was trying to make on the ellipse. He was, of course, in that Zoom call with Voto Latino, calling Donald Trump's supporters garbage. There's no doubt about what he said. Everyone knows what he said. And even the journalists immediately covering it before the propaganda talking points went out, they all know that he was calling Trump supporters garbage. Now, it's Friday, so we're on, day 3 of this story. I am,
unbelievable,
to tell you the truth, shocked that they haven't let Joe Biden come out and do some sort of damage control on this. But they've decided that he does more harm than good, and they're trying to keep him sequestered through the election day. He's already done enough. But he's now languishing as this story continues to boil over. Because the cover-up, what do we always say about scandals in Washington, D.C., Patrice? The cover-up is always worse than the crime.
Yeah.
And so here's Karine Jean-Pierre engaging in the cover-up.
Does he think less of Americans who support Trump than he does of those who do not? Yeah. And 2, why is he using that kind of rhetoric? How is that presidential?
So a couple of things.
So
just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage, which is why he this is why he wanted to make sure that we put out a statement that clarified what he meant and what he was trying to say. And so just want to make that very clear for folks who are watching.
Right, but he didn't clarify it in the statement. Again, it was a written statement that, as far as we know, he didn't put out. It was some staffer in Karine Jean-Pierre's office. He still has not said anything personally about this. But finally, they're all pointing to, well, just look at the White House transcript. Now, Patrice, have you ever interviewed a president before?
I have not had the pleasure, no.
I've done it a couple of times, especially when you do it at the White House. I've done radio interviews with the president, and they ask for the audio feed, a live audio feed of your recording. So anything you're recording the president say, they get a cable coming out of your recording unit or your broadcast unit, so they can have a direct feed of it too.
Okay.
And that's the White House stenographers or transcriptors department. They're nonpartisan. They work for the White House regardless of who the president is. They have one job, and that is recording for posterity every single utterance that the President of the United States makes. When you interview the president, especially at the White House, every word he says is written down and saved for posterity, right?
It's important,
and it's part of the Presidential Records Act. This is the law, right? The Presidential Records Act. Everybody thinks they're an expert on the Presidential Records Act because of the Mar-a-Lago raid. Well, the president is not allowed to go in and change official presidential records. The record is what the record is. The official transcript that was originally drafted of Biden's remarks that you just heard of him calling Trump supporters garbage, right here.
They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
The official transcript wrote down what Joe Biden said exactly the way you just heard it.
Yes.
But then the White House comms office, Karine Jean-Pierre's people, went in, put pressure on the transcription people and made them alter the official presidential record to add an apostrophe there, so that it in some way nonsensically meant that there is a Trump supporter who has garbage, that possesses garbage. It makes no sense. This is a scandal. They are not allowed to do that. Be. And the Associated Press is reporting on it now. And listen, we should talk about it, and it will be talked about all day because the White House is now meddling politically in the official record of what Joe Biden said. Yeah. And once again, I want to remind you, this happened Tuesday night. This is Friday morning. We're still talking about the fact Joe Biden thinks Trump supporters are garbage. Great job, everybody. Real good job of covering this up and doing damage control.
This is, I guess, another October surprise. I mean, here's what is interesting, and I think this is the overarching point. People would give President Biden some grace if he had not already demeaned and belittled Trump supporters so many times in the past. And frankly, the person who replaced him on the ticket has demeaned and belittled in the past week President Trump and by extension his supporters. Yep. We've been called fascist, Nazis. You've been called, we can go back to 2016 with Hillary Clinton, the basket of deplorables. Right. You can go back to Obama talking about the clingers, people who are clinging to their guns and God and religion. So it is these elitists, these liberal elitists think so little of anyone who thinks differently from them that they would say whatever, which is why now it's so hard to give President Biden any grace other than to say what he said is exactly what he meant.
That's right. If he hasn't been such a colossal jerk in his entire 50-year career, maybe you'd give him the benefit of the doubt. But sorry, pal. Sorry. We know exactly what you said because we know exactly what you think. Oh, and then Mark Cuban decided to chime in. And
of course.
We'll get to that a little later. It's 5:24.
Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:36. It's Friday morning in your nation's capital, and we really appreciate you letting us be a part of your routine here as we close out this week, heading into the weekend right before the election. By the way, quick note, election night coverage right here on WMAL, unlike you'll get anywhere else. Of course, the great one, Mark Levin, from 6 to 9. Then Vince Colonnese will take over and anchor our live election coverage, covering, of course, the national races and the all-important local races here that the whole nation is watching. That'll go into the evening, Patrice. So I'm not sure when. Knowing Vince, he will stay until every vote is counted.
I know he will. I'm looking forward to election night and not looking forward to election night. It's going to be a long one.
It'll be fun and it'll be excruciating. At 6:35, Tim Holbert is going to join us this morning. He's the president of American Veterans Center. At 7:05, Matt Schlapp from CPAC on some curious behavior from election officials in Wisconsin. Well, Democrats. 7:35, Bram Weinstein will join us on the weekend's football game. 8:05, Tom Bevan, and then 8:35, Scott Walker. That's Patrice. I'm Larry. And again, I just want to remind you, Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, really day 4 of this scandal.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Biden calls Trump supporters garbage, then lie about it, then has the official transcript altered.
By the White House press office.
Yes, completely illegal, altering the presidential records to cover his butt. Then Donald Trump shows up as a garbage man in a garbage truck for a rally, and it continues and continues. And then Mark Cuban yesterday on The View, I guess he decided, you know what, don't worry, guys, I'll take everybody's attention away.
Hold my beer. I've got this.
Hold my beer, Joe. Hey, Kamala, I got you covered. So he's on The View, and Mark Cuban says...
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
Okay, so...
Oh, my goodness.
I feel like I should just let you take this, Patrice. So let's be clear what he's saying, and I don't want to make sure he's not taken out of context.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
Okay.
It's just that simple.
I love the ladies on The View are like, yeah. Isn't one of the women on that panel actually someone who used to work for Donald Trump in the White House, Alyssa Farah?
Alyssa Farah. So I guess she's not a smart, strong woman.
Not a strong, intelligent woman, yeah. So you never see him around strong, intelligent women. But, of course, we know that we see him around women, and we know that women are around him, women who have worked with him, women who are part of his organization well before. he became president and worked in the White House and in politics, but even, throughout his entire career. So I guess Mark Cuban is saying is that all of the women who you see around Donald Trump are weak and stupid. That's the only way I can take that. You tell me, Patrice. I mean, you're a woman in this game of politics and media.
Well, I'm a woman. I'm a Trump supporter. And I didn't work for the Trump administration, but I certainly had been in the White House several times for lots of policy meetings. So I don't know if that qualifies me. Mark Cuban's misogyny is showing, but it's not surprising because I think this is true of a lot of men on the left, not just women, but men who think that, well, they're not smart if they don't think the way that women in our camp think. And boy, did he put his foot in his mouth. There have been so many videos, posts from women. Let me just list off some of them.
Yes.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's now a governor.
Hold on. Let's hear that one.
Mark Cuban just said there are no strong, intelligent women around President Trump. It's a disgusting lie. And it's pretty funny coming from Democrats who can't even tell you what a woman is. I worked for President Trump for 2.5 years. Democrats tried to tear me down. President Trump empowered me and every other woman in America. My name is Sarah Sanders, and I'm proud to join the millions of smart, intelligent women who will stand with Donald Trump this Tuesday.
All right, we've got more of these, but I'll let you go through the list because the volume is impressive. Go ahead.
We will go through Alina Habba, who is, I guess, the lawyer for President Trump. His represented him in so many cases, which they have won or seen dismissed. Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yep.
Another one of the women who's worked to support school choice issues as well as just Black outreach issues around President Trump. I'm pretty sure she's smart and a strong woman. I talked about Danica Patrick earlier. Our very own Mercedes Schlapp.
Yep.
I mean, who worked in the communications shop under the Trump administration. I mean, you could go down the list. Carrie Lake, Kristi Noem, Riley Gaines, Sage Steele. One of the newer voices, I think, to this movement, but certainly a woman who is a strong and vociferous in her support for President Trump. You've got CEOs like Marcy McCarthy, Kelly Loeffler. I mean, the list goes on. And you know what? We've got this great list. I'll also tweet it out, or we can tweet it out this morning so people can go and watch the videos. But for the big picture, the big point here is the left claims to be supporting women and about women and speaking for women and protecting women's rights. All they care about is using women's ovaries and body and wombs as a tool to get reelected and to hold power. Well, women are more than just reproductive rights. We're actually our brains and we're actually our hearts. And there's a reason why women look at President Trump and think he is the right person for the job because of the policies that he's enacting that will make groceries cheaper. They were cheaper under him. That will make it easier for me to find jobs and start businesses. Businesses were hitting an all-time high among women-owned businesses were hitting an all-time high under President Trump's administration, cutting back the regulations so that you can stay in business. I can go on and on. But Mark Cuban put his foot in his mouth, and there is no amount of backpedaling or apologizing that's going to remove it at this point.
You've heard from Patrice. You will hear from a lot of those women that she just mentioned in reaction to Mark Cuban here. A classic Washington, D.C. gaffe, saying out loud what he actually believes, and he said it in support of Kamala Harris. It's girl power day here, and Mark Cuban's leading the charge.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
It is. Just that simple. 543.
Heads up. Mark Cuban just said, and I quote, "There are no strong, intelligent women around President Trump." Cuban's words are mean, sad, and misogynistic. And the left can't even define what a woman is. I am evangelist Alveda King, and I pray for my friend, President Donald John Trump.
Hold on now, Alveda King. I have great respect for that woman, but she can't bear fault witness like that. There's no possible way Mark Cuban, a brilliant entrepreneur and tech genius, there's no way Mark Cuban would say something that asinine and stupid.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
All right, well, I guess I'll never doubt Alveda King again. She ain't lying. Can I just say, if he were a conservative, this is a career ender.
Of course.
I mean, no
of course,
questions asked.
Saying.
No apologies, no damage control, no walking it back, no, suffering on the cross. There's nothing. There's nothing you can do to salvage this.
There would be an army of op-eds right now and segments talking about how misogynistic Trump supporters are, and as evidenced by their big surrogate. If he was a Republican or conservative.
That's right. Exactly. Forget about this being a career ender for Mark Cuban. This immediately goes right to the top to Kamala Harris. Everyone has to disavow them. And every Democrat running for office. Like, where's the reporter chasing down Eugene Vindman in Virginia 7 saying, do you agree or disagree with what Mark Cuban said? Do you disavow it? Tim Kaine. Where's Tim Kaine? Why aren't they holding Tim Kaine's feet to the fire saying,
thank you.
Tim Kaine, do you agree with Mark Cuban? Do you disavow this? Do you think Kamala Harris should say something publicly to distance herself from Mark Cuban? That's how it would work on conservatives. That's how it would work on the other side. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Nothing. Being on the left means never having to say you're sorry.
Well, and every woman that is, if it was on the reverse, every woman would have to be called to account. So they would be demanding that Vice President Kamala Harris would come out and get her surrogate back in line, apologize, say this does not reflect our viewpoints, and take him off take him off the campaign trail. But I'm pretty sure, as of this morning, I haven't seen Kamala Harris say anything. Angela Alsobrooks, PG County.
That's right.
Trying to be senator of Maryland. Where are you on this? Do you think Mark Cuban should apologize for his blatant misogyny? I'd like to know.
By the way,
I'm one of your constituents, by the way.
Secretly and not too secretly, they all agree with Mark Cuban. That's the real truth. Carrie Lake reacted.
I have a message for Mark Cuban, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and my opponent, Ruben Gallego. We're not deplorables. We're not Nazis. We're not garbage, and we're not dumb. We are patriots. My name is Carrie Lake, and I'm a strong, intelligent woman, and I support President Donald Trump.
There you go. And by the way, I mean, just to remind you all, she's not alone. There are a lot of Democrats who actually are great admirers of Carrie Lake.
Running against someone who is physically attractive.
That's true. See, at least she's got Bill Clinton on her side. Oh, she's a good-looking woman. You can't take that away from her. Huh?
Well, don't forget, Obama said that Kamala Harris was a good-looking woman.
Oh yes,
when
the
he was
best-looking attorney general we got. He said, which is not really her type. Right. I didn't know she was his type. I'll be honest with you, but.
Well, sometimes what you marry. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Never mind.
Danica Patrick.
So I saw that Mark Cuban went on The View, the gift that just keeps on giving, and said that Donald Trump does not like to have strong and intelligent women around him, and that they intimidate him. First off, that's obviously wildly unintelligent. And second, as my own just anecdotal story, when I met him last week in Vegas at the rally for the first time, he said, "We need to get you a job." So, am I not strong and intelligent?
Good question.
There you go.
Mark Cuban cannot hold a candle to any of these women. That's the reality, and certainly not you. From your perspective, what does this tell you about where their campaign is right now, that this is the messaging this week?
They've been desperate for a while, but this week the rhetoric has been ramped up, the level of divisiveness. This is a tactic that they use, that black liberals use against black conservatives, which is, we're going to beat you with a stick to keep you quiet so that other people don't jump off the boat and try to escape to freedom. And so that's what the Democrats are now doing broadly with women, with all of their constituents, saying, we're going to demean the other side so badly that you will be scared to leave our camp, plantation, whatever analogy you want to use there. And so that's why you're seeing this negative rhetoric ramped up so much. They are panicked. They're in full panic mode, and they're going to say whatever it takes to ensure that their camp does not defect.
Mark Cuban has come out on X, a platform which, by the way, he hates and thinks that Elon Musk is ruining the world, but he just can't get enough of it. He put out a clarification. Should we let him be heard? Here we go.
Let's hear it.
You tell me. Now, let me remind you again of what Mark Cuban said so you can shoot his clarification through this lens. Here's what he said.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
Okay. Here's what he said. Let's clarify something. This is what I said during a conversation about why Nikki Haley was not active in his campaign. Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women ever. It's just that simple. They're intimidating to him. He doesn't like to be challenged by them. And Nikki Haley will call him on his nonsense with reproductive rights and how he sees and treats and talks about women. I mean, he just can't have her around. It wouldn't work. I'm happy to clarify that, one, I know many strong, intelligent women voting for Trump, including in my extended family. I'm certainly not saying female voters are not smart, strong, and intelligent. Two, I know he has worked with strong, intelligent women like Elaine Chao, Kellyanne, Ivanka, and many others. I stand by my opinion that he does not like being challenged publicly. Well, first of all, he didn't say he doesn't like being challenged publicly. And let me tell you something. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris really don't like being challenged publicly.
Oh,
so
no, they don't.
Pretty much say that about any politician. But that's Mark Cuban's clarification, and he stands by this statement, which is the most important part.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
And I think that statement stands on its own. Patrice, you buying it?
His foot is still in his mouth. No, his foot is still in his mouth. He did not apologize. And frankly, he demeaned and insulted all of the women who he just said that he thinks are strong, intelligent women who've been around President Trump. So he literally just double insulted them.
That's right. And the backpedaling is so incoherent that it frankly makes it worse. So, I mean, we still
believe him the first time. That's the bottom line.
We're still cleaning up Joe Biden's mess from Tuesday night. Now we got Mark Cuban going. And, I don't know. If I'm the Kamala Harris campaign, I don't think I want to be in the position of having to deal with these stories 4 days before Election Day.
Take all surrogates off the campaign trail at this point. There you